everybody. Welcome back to the High Roller Sports Betting Podcast. And once again, you're here with Coach and T, and we are ready to break down all the Week 0 and Week 1 big games. Then on Monday night, we move to our last game of the slate on Week 1, which is Clemson versus Georgia Tech. That'll be Monday night, September 5th. It's an ESPN game at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Clemson right now at time of recording is minus 19, and the over-under is 49.5. Tell me a little bit about this game.
So this game is also going to be played in Atlanta. So no real home field advantage, but Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech's pretty close.
But
Clemson's pretty close too. I don't see the big disadvantage. I truly do feel this should be more neutral site
than
the other games.
Ones, yeah. So these two teams did play a year ago. Clemson won that game 14-7 at home. This is one of those games that it's like you expect Clemson to finally show up last year and just didn't, but they did sneak out that win. Georgia Tech actually outgained Clemson. 294 to 284 last year at Clemson, which isn't something that happens all that much. Clemson brings back a lot on offense in terms of yards, back 84.8%, which is a difference from 2 years ago when they lost pretty much everything going into last year, which is one of the reasons why I think that totals come down, because last year's Clemson team wasn't as good. But we'll see how they do this year. They do return 9 offensive starters. Georgia Tech returns about half of their offensive and defensive production, so nothing too crazy. Really, to me, this game comes down to Clemson was really young last year. They were young at running back. They were young at quarterback, where DJ played well when he spelled Trevor Lawrence, but he wasn't really the guy for more than, was it like 3 games, I think?
A couple games,
Yeah, he didn't have a ton, and nobody really had any film on him. Now, last year, teams got some film, and he struggled.
Yep.
He did not have a great year. Yeah. But he also didn't have the weapons. Running backs were young. Wide receivers had all previously gone to the NFL. Yep. Their O-line should be much improved this year from last year with now 75 combined starts. Last year at O-line, they were young and they were hurt. Yeah. And that's when you have a younger quarterback with lesser weapons, a hurt and young O-line does not help.
Yeah, at all.
Wide receiver, they bring back pretty much everybody outside of Justin Ross, who's their top target. Yeah. But, again, nobody really had special years because the Clemson offense in general kind of struggled last year.
Yep, I would agree.
Yep. Defensively, they lose their top 2 tacklers, but Clemson defensively is one of these teams that they just reload. They're going to be good. They may not have the star power that they had a couple years ago that are now all playing on Sundays, but for the most part, their defense will be all right.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about Clemson. I think they take that step forward, getting a year older, with DJ having more experience. And this Georgia Tech team is one of the lesser teams in the conference.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. For me, I look at last year with Clemson, and the one word that sticks out is injuries. They were hurt.
Youth.
They were young. And that's not a good combination. And only through the magic of Dabo Swinney and his coaching staff did they even salvage a year. I mean, it could have been a complete train wreck, folks. And that's not what you expect out of Clemson. However, when you have that culmination it was kind of like the perfect storm for them. I do expect them to bounce back.
Yeah.
What do you know about Georgia Tech?
So Georgia Tech, Jeff Sims is going to be back at quarterback. He got hurt in the opener last year.
Okay.
Missed 3 games, then he came back and he got hurt again and was done for the year.
I was going to say I didn't see.
They lose their top 2 rushers.
Yeah.
They bring in a transfer from Buffalo who did run for 1,000 yards, but again, that's a completely different level of competition. Now you got to go play up against Clemson. Yeah. They do bring back a wide receiver, Malachi Carter, at about 500 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns, but they lose their next 3 targets. If they only bring back 2 guys on the offensive line, they have a good linebacker group defensively, but for the most part outside of that, they only return 3 defensive starters.
Yeah.
So this Georgia Tech team is not the same team that played Clemson to a 7-point game at Clemson last year.
Yeah.
So this is a completely different ball game. I think last year's game has impacted the spread on this one a little bit, but
yeah, I mean for me, how I'm looking at it, I saw the big number and I thought, okay, the book is starting to give Clemson that respect once again. Are they going to get burned by it? Because they got burned by it last year.
Yeah.
And I didn't take full advantage. When I watched Clemson play, I thought something was off early on, and it never really clicked for them. And I just have that feeling that things aren't going to click for them again the way they want. The ACC is filled with teams that are in that next tier. They're not necessarily elite, and I don't see Clemson as elite this year. They would really have to do some kids would really have to step up in the backfield and in their wide receiver core. I like DJ Uyunglele. Did I get that out right? I tried. For you out there, I tried. Uyunglele. Is that better? I pronunciated it a little better at that time. Anyhow, I like the kid. I think he has some really good potential, but I think he could be helped by knowing these receivers, giving them one more year, and giving that line. There were times I was watching them play, and he was running for his life back there. He did not have the time he needed to move forward. But this is one thing, and maybe you can touch on this. I would definitely jump on this Clemson team had they returned their entire coaching staff. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So Clemson has been one of those programs through this run that has just given their coaches a raise.
Yep.
They kept paying their offensive and defensive coordinators to keep the coaching staff intact.
Yep.
That's no longer the case.
Yep.
They lose both offensive and defensive coordinators. And now, will it be a situation like with Alabama where it's been a revolving door of offensive coordinators and it's worked?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be an issue for Clemson?
Yeah.
Now, personally, I trust Dabo Swinney.
Yep, I agree.
I think Dabo's one of the best coaches in the country.
Yep.
I think they will be all right.
Yep.
But if they start to struggle again early, we'll see. Know. There may be an adjustment that has to be made, but as of right now, I mean, I'm high on Clemson this year. I've got Clemson as one of the better teams in the country, ranked in my top 5 in my power rankings.
Yeah.
I think they're good. Now, will it be a little bit shorter leash than typically because of the success that they had last year?
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof, potentially. Because, I mean, yes, all those guys are a year older, but if they start to lack that production again, at what point is it maybe they just had a bad recruiting class that that can't get it done?
You just don't know.
At the same level.
I like Clemson. I think, especially defensively, I think they can. I don't have them elite yet, but this is where you make adjustments in your own power rankings when you see some of these things live and you get more information on these young men that you have question marks about. I just don't think Georgia Tech has. You said it best. They don't have the same team. I do like the fact that this game has gone down and gone through some key numbers in 20 and 21, but it's still not enough for me to pull a trigger on. Nor when at 49.5, I see just an ounce of value in still being under.
I do too.
But it's another game where if you had to ask, if you wanted to bet it, I think the best bet for me on this one is betting the under at 49.5. If it sinks below 49,
it's just losing another number.
That's a key number that I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Right now, that would lose the value for me, and I would then stay away. Although I do think this is a game that's going to be in those mid to low 40s. 49's too key a number for me personally, and that you open up too many other potential opportunities to lose that. So that's how I'm looking at this one. I definitely think Clemson wins. I just don't know that they're going to cover on this one.
Yeah.
Because I think Clemson is a good team, but I don't know if they're great. Your thoughts?
I've got Clemson minus about 21.5. So
yeah,
that's right around where it opened. It's been bet down to the 19. If it keeps going down, I may have a play.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to keep going down. I think it's going to get to the point where if it goes down another point or so, that sharps will start to take it, betting it back up. Because this really comes down to, I don't think this Georgia Tech team has the talent to hang with Clemson this year. Yep. Being a year older. Hopefully they're healthy. But I'm big on Clemson. I love Dabo. We'll see what they can do. But this is a team that throughout the year we'll keep a close eye on because it is a lot of the same guys that struggled.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with that Ohio State defense in a sense that like if they struggle, then is it just a bad class? Now, I think both teams are going to be just fine.
Yeah.
The difference is Ohio State's offense can make up for the struggles. Clemson's offense
is yet to be seen.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And in terms of the total, I leaned under right away.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get to the window on it just strictly because if all of a sudden Clemson's offense is back and they have those weapons and DJ plays well, they could blow this Georgia Tech team out that only returns 3 starters.
Yes. Yep. That's very well said.
That's the only thing I'm worried about with the under. Yeah. I still lean the under.
I think Clemson can put up a 50 spot on them if that all comes together. I just don't think they will. Yeah. And I don't know how much Georgia Tech is going to score. That's why I'm leaning the under on that one as well. So